Good evening, everyone. Sir Owen Disney here, and we're going to talk a little Monday Night Raw. And before I get started with Raw, I do want to mention a couple of things right off the top. So, I am a lot happier with the events of tonight's broadcast than I was last night's pay-per-view. As a matter of fact, if you did not watch the pay-per-view, which you really didn't miss much, then you pretty much got rematches tonight, so... I mean, not everything, obviously, but there were a lot of rematches from the pay-per-view last night tonight. So, there's always that. I want to get right off talking about this. Very excited about tomorrow. Tomorrow, and actually, since this video is for Tuesday, today we are going to be going to Columbus, Ohio, and the Nationwide Arena for SmackDown. SmackDown tapes tonight in Columbus, Ohio, and it's going to be awesome. Like I said, Pop goes to SmackDown. Me, Will, Ben, and Ben's friend Steven are going to be going to SmackDown, and we're going to be shooting a lot of video. Ben said something about talking about maybe Sons of Anarchy, and there's a couple of things that are being discussed, and get some video reactions. And unlike I normally do, we normally do NXT and SmackDown on Saturday. It'll be a little bit different this week because we're going to be doing a live event perspective of SmackDown and also talking about the main event because the main event tapes right before SmackDown. Don't know if there'll be a dark match or anything. There's nothing announced via the nationwidearena.com website, so it's anyone's guess if there's going to be a dark match. We're going to be hitting up the Cheesecake Factory tomorrow. Oh god, it's going to be amazing. Cannot wait, and try to find some sort of awesomeness on the way back to eat that we do not have here, so that's going to be really cool. So stay tuned for that. I'll be filming with the iPod, and I'll probably be filming with the tablet as well. Actually, I will be filming with the tablet for sure, and I'll bring my stand so it doesn't look all lopsided. I don't have to hold it because I'm lazy. Anyway, like I said, Halloween Horror Nights video coming up in the near future, and of course we're going to talk TNA Impact this weekend. Obviously, it's not going to be Thursday night because Thursday night I won't be able to watch Impact because we've got Captain Phillips at 8 o'clock and Machete Kills at 10:20, and then after that I'm going to come back here and I'm going to sleep. And then Friday morning I'm going to get up and I'm going to shoot some videos, actually. We're going to shoot AJ's movie reviews for the aforementioned movies, Captain Phillips and Machete Kills, as well as the Curse of Chucky. And we did recently get instructions not included. I don't know if AJ's going to be reviewing it or not, because I'm pretty sure it's a cam copy, but I haven't looked at it, so I don't know exactly what it looks like yet. That review probably will be coming up soon as well. So, a lot of things still to come. We actually got Machete Kills and Captain Phillips today at work, and I built them, so they're good to go. Just got to add trailers and rolling stock, and all set. So, back in the swing of things, just as that quickly. So, really good. Hours still kind of stagnant right now. Like I said, hopefully they'll get better. Probably won't see a major resurgence in hours until November 8th when Thor comes out. So, when The Dark World comes out, hopefully the hours will go back up. And then, of course, I'm going home again in 57 days, and I will be checking into the villas at the Grand Floridian, and of course move over to All-Star Movies. Talk about a drop for a reunion, and I'll be there for the events of reunion, and it's going to be amazing. Really looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing Tim and Jen in December. Maybe go to Splitsville, bowl a couple rounds. Be fun. Be a great time. Really enjoyable. And obviously I want to hang out with Scarlett as well. And all the awesome people I met last year at reunion, and the ones that I have talked to via the WDW Today live podcast chat rooms, and via Twitter and Facebook. So it's going to be nice to hang out with everyone. It's going to be nice to make my return to Universal again, do Grinchmas, and I'm going over for Mannheim Steamroller, going back to SeaWorld, do the Christmas events this time around. So, of course, I got Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and a lot of awesomeness coming from December 4th through the 16th. So I will be looking into that. We'll talk about that as we progress. But before I get going any further, I'm just going to go into it. WWE Monday Night Raw live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Steel City. Home of the Steelers, home of the Pirates, home of the Penguins, home of Bruno Sammartino, home of Larry Zbyszko, and home of Kurt Angle. As well as the franchise Shane Douglas. I wasn't going to forget that one. So, a lot of awesome things come out of Pittsburgh. A lot of bad things come out of Pittsburgh, too. And Pittsburgh also was the site of the first pay-per-view event I ever attended. That was SummerSlam back in 1995 at the Igloo, the Pittsburgh Civic Arena. So, I want to talk about that. But we're going to go right into that. If you did not know what I'm talking about, it was the Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels 2-ladder match. Main event was Diesel and King Mabel for the WWF Championship, and we had Triple H and Bob Holly, the 1-2-3 Kid, and Hakushi. Bret Hart versus Isaac Yankem. You know him as Kane now. And, yeah, it was an okay show. It wasn't a great show. It was an okay show. So there's always that. And that was the last appearance of Lex Luger, because pretty much right after that, he debuted on WCW Monday Nitro. At the first Nitro in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Mall of America. So, I want to talk about it right here. And we're going to talk about Raw, and right before we get started, we had the fallout from last night's pay-per-view. And I talked about last night's pay-per-view, and if you want to check that video out, you can find it on the WWE pay-per-view playlist here on Pop. Or you can just find it on the previous videos, because it's the last video from yesterday. So, Stephanie McMahon comes out, and she says the WWE title match, it was not only compromised, it was completely ruined, all because of the selfish actions of one man, and that man being the Big Show. So she calls the Big Show out, and she basically asks him what does he have to say for himself, and he says, I'm sorry. And Stephanie pretty much just browbeats him and says, you know what, I need you to man up right now and take responsibility for your actions. And Big Show's like, yeah, okay, can I go now? And she's like, no, you can't go. As a matter of fact, we own you. You don't have the right to any free will. I want you to beg for the forgiveness of everyone right now. Get on your hands and knees and beg. You're worthless, you have no heart, and most of all, you have no soul. Big Show thinks about it for a split second. He's like, I'm not begging. I knocked out Randy Orton because I was sick and tired, and I couldn't take it anymore. And you know what? I knocked out Daniel Bryan because you told me to. And of course, Stephanie goes on the defensive and says, oh, me and Triple H weren't even there, and how could we have done anything while we weren't there in attendance, and Brad Maddox was the one in charge, so all this goes on him. And Big Show stops her dead in her tracks and says, Brad Maddox is just a corporate puppet. He works for you. And your son of a bitch husband, which pops the crowd, of course. So, Stephanie takes it amongst herself to slap the Big Show about 7 times in the face, and keeps saying, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it, Show? What are you going to do about it? And Big Show's kind of smirking the whole time. And Stephanie's like, you know what you're going to do? You know what you're going to do? You know what? You're fired. So she fires the Big Show. And Show thinks about it for a split second. And he just walks out. He's like, I'm fired? I'm fired. Whatever. And he leaves. Okay. Start the show off with Stephanie firing the Big Show. This pretty much sets up the events of the rest of the evening. And obviously, Big Show has nothing to lose, given the fact that he doesn't work for the company any longer. So because he doesn't work for the company any longer, that means he has carte blanche to do anything he wants, including apparently after he is escorted out of the building by security, he's allowed to come back in with his theme music, mind you, still in his gear, and come out through the entrance ramp instead of come through the crowd. And again, someone else came through the crowd, but we'll talk about that later. So we get our first match of the evening. It is a rematch from the kickoff match of Battleground last night. Damian Sandow, Mr. Money in the Bank, taking on the former Mr. Money in the Bank, the show-off Dolph Ziggler. So this was okay for what it was, and we'll go midway through the match. We can do her on Pop. There's a whip-in, and it's a short whip-in in the turnbuckle. Sandow nails the side California leg sweep and plants Ziggler with the Kobito Aki at the elbow of disdain, makes the lateral press 1-2 and a kick out, so he goes for the chin lock. Ziggler has an unorthodox way to break the hold. He has charging headbutts right to the midsection. Dolph gets tossed over the top rope to the floor, and he sends him face first into the ring apron and then face first into the ring post. Toss him back in, makes another cover, 1-2, and Ziggler kicks out. Chin lock with a knee firmly planted in the lower back, and Ziggler elbows his way out. So whip in, he charges in, and he goes shoulder first into the ring post when Ziggler scoots out of the way. And Ziggler double legs him and starts pounding away. So this turns into an MMA fight already. So a big clothesline, and a right hand knocks Sandow through the ropes to the floor. So Ziggler fights him out, and he starts raining down the elbows on the floor, tosses Sandow back in, and Sandow backs up to the corner. Ziggler catches him, goes for the 10 punch, goes for the 10 punch in the corner, and nails the Hangman's neck breaker barely, and the standing drop kick, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes for the zigzag, and Sandow swats him off. He goes up top, gets crotched, and when he falls off the top rope, Sandow again makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. 2 knee strikes to the chest, and whip in, and gets the knee caught, roll up, 1-2, and no, and Ziggler ends up nailing him with a name dropper, and 1-2-3. So he wins the match out of absolutely nowhere. So the downward spiral of Mr. Money in the Bank continues. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I said on the Battleground video last night that I believe Damien Sandow is going to be cashing in Money in the Bank very, very soon. And by very soon, I say it's going to happen tomorrow. I think that Sandow could very well cash in Money in the Bank tomorrow in Columbus at SmackDown. And of course, WWE website will be all about the fact that we have a brand new World Heavyweight Champion, and it's Damien Sandow. Who knows if that's going to happen, but I think it could, given the fact that Sandow is losing upon losing upon losing. And we all know how the Money in the Bank briefcase works. The recipient of said briefcase loses until you think that he's not going to cash in, and that's when he cashes in. So, I like the quote marks today for some reason. Go figure. So, basically what I'm saying is this. I think Sandow could easily cash in tomorrow in SmackDown in Columbus. I think it might happen. But if he doesn't, he's only got 3 weeks, because the other opportunity for him to cash in is at Hell in a Cell. And if he cashes in at Hell in a Cell, it's going to be a very interesting person he cashes in on. But we'll talk about that as we progress. Because obviously, at this point in the show, we don't know this information yet. So I'm trying to go through it like I wouldn't know for a fact. So basically, Stephanie ends up browbeating Brad Maddox and blaming him for everything. Says he needs to do what the Big Show didn't do, and that is apologize to the WWE Universe and go out in a public forum and make his apology. He's lucky that he still has a job. He's lucky that he wasn't fired like the Big Show was. He says basically that he's trying to blame everything on Triple H, and Stephanie stops him and was like, no, how dare you try to blame this on my husband? I mean, there was all sorts of chaos last night. Like the Rhodes family won. And the blackout that pretty much left everyone without a pay-per-view signal for 6 minutes. Scott Armstrong being reinstated, and the WWE Championship still being in limbo. So, basically, his job is to tell the WWE Universe sorry and to make it up to them. So that's what he's got to do. Maddox still a puppet. Maddox is still awesome. That's all you need to know. So we get our next match, if you could call it that. Oh boy. Alright. You get Rosa Mendez, who is now blonde and looking gorgeous. Oksana, who I still don't like. And Alicia Fox, who still can't work. Taking on the Total Divas tandem of Natalya, Eva Marie, and JoJo. This coming on the heels of everyone saying that Eva Marie has been held off television because we found out she really can't work very well, and they're looking for a role for her in the meantime after Total Divas is through. This match pretty much shows me that, yes, Eva Marie cannot work, but she's eye candy, and she'll probably be given... I'd say she'd be given, like, Renee Young's role, potentially. I mean, I don't know, maybe send her down to NXT, let her get some seasoning, potentially. Get her and JoJo to work down at NXT. I think that's a good idea for the time being. Didn't see anything from JoJo in this match. She warmed the apron this whole match. But let's talk about it. This wonderful match. So Eva Marie with a schoolgirl roll-up on Oksana. Only gets a 1 count out of it. Boot in, and there's a whip. She catches the back elbow on 2 separate occasions. Well, not back elbow. Catches the elbow drop from Oksana, and only gets a 1 count out of it. Tagging to Rosa, and she locks her in the Halo choke, and she knees her way out of it. Tagging to Alicia Fox with a scoop slam, and makes a cover 1 count only. So forearms Natty off the ring apron, so knocks her down. And of course JoJo jumps to Natty's aid at this point, and she's off the apron. So whip in, charges in, catches the knee, and tagging to Natty. So Natty comes in, clothesline, scoop slam, tosses into Rosa and Oksana, Alicia Fox, mind you, and rolls her up 1-2 and a kick out. Discus clothesline on Alicia Fox, locks in the sharpshooter, and she taps out. Like I said, JoJo did not even do anything in this match, so there's always that. I guess if you're going to continue while the hiatus of Total Divas, it doesn't really have everyone fresh in your minds to put Eva Marie and JoJo on Raw or SmackDown. I guess I understand, but I'd like to see what JoJo can do. And for the reports of saying Eva Marie is terrible in the ring, and JoJo didn't do anything in this match, it tells me a little something that JoJo may be worse than Eva Marie, but I have no way of knowing that, given the fact that she did not do anything in this match except for warm the apron, clap, yeah, Tracy! Sorry, I bring that reference up all the time. For those of you that don't understand, it's there was a Whoopi Goldberg film called Eddie with Frank Langella, and basically Eddie gets picked to do the basketball free throw for money, and along with 2 other audience members, and of course Eddie makes it, and the other girl, her name's Tracy, and she kind of mockingly claps for her when she misses the shot, and they're like, yeah, Tracy! So yeah, that's the reason why I use that reference. So for those of you that wonder why I say that all the time, there's your answer. So Brad Maddox comes out, and he makes an apology about last night, because he was supposed to. He says there's going to be a rematch at Hell in a Cell, inside the Hell in a Cell, between Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton to determine once and for all who the WWE Champion is. And in order to make that match completely unbiased, there is going to be a special guest referee. Now, the special guest referee will be chosen by the WWE Universe via, guess what? The WWE app, of course. And, oh, by the way, Michael Cole, I'm pretty sure everyone in the WWE Universe knows how to download an app from iTunes or Google Play, so why would you tell me? Twice? Ugh, just ridiculous. I will give the WWE for the app being the first poll question they do of the entire night is, how long will it take Michael Cole to mention the WWE app? I thought that was hilarious. Kind of a nice little rib on Michael Cole. So, the WWE Universe will get to choose who is the special guest referee, and it's a choice of 3 WWE Hall of Famers. A light bulb goes off in my head immediately, and the word Shawn Michaels comes immediately to mind. Mick Foley comes to mind momentarily as well, but he's kind of busy doing his comedy tour, so Shawn Michaels definitely comes to mind, especially via the fact that he helped train Daniel Bryan, which is a factor that has never been mentioned on WWE television until tonight. So we get our next match, the tag team match with Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre, who rumor has it is going to be leaving 3-man band soon, taking on Diego and Fernando Los Matadores. with El Torito in their corner. Mascarita Dorada. I'll give it to Michael Cole. I'll throw out the reference that most people didn't. Well, actually, a lot of longtime fans would have gotten, but most fans that watch the show probably like, huh? I like the idea that they brought off the fact that he looks like Giant Gonzalez because he has like the airbrushed like muscles on his bodysuit. And I think it's kind of like El Torito to me is like a 3-foot version of Mantar mixed with Giant Gonzalez. So yeah, there's always that. And he's great in the ring, but obviously we haven't really seen that yet. It's gonna take a bit to sell me on Los Matadores. Primo and Epico as a whole, they're okay in the ring. They're not bad. I don't know about this gimmick getting over. I think that the Olay stuff should have been saved for Sami Zayn, obviously, because everyone in NXT does it anyway, because they all know his past as El Generico, and the ones that don't know his past as El Generico just pretty much are like sheep, and they follow the fans that know what they're talking about. So that's how Chance gets started, and Chance gets stuck. So the Olay is still being used for Sami Zayn, who is getting over like gangbusters in NXT right now, in the WWE at Los Matadores. So, a lot of unique tag team action, a lot of unique double teams. So, basically, Fernando comes off the middle rope with a double chop on Drew McIntyre, and they hit their finisher, which is it's interesting. They both pick them up with a torture rack, and they both fall out at the same time, so it's kind of like a double torture rack Samoan drop, and that's how they win. Of course, Heath Slater chases Torito around the ringside area. They get in the ring, and they get stopped. Heath Slater gets nailed by a diving Rana from El Torito, and sends him halfway across the ring to the floor, so that's going to be the end of that. Like I said, not sold on Los Matadores yet. It's going to take a bit to get me sold on them. Still not sure if the crowd's going to get sold on them or not. I could be wrong. They might. But they are in dire need of babyface tag teams right now. But really not. Because, you've got the Usos. You got the Primetime Players. Real Americans are about to split up any day now because Antonio Cesaro is going babyface. But we'll talk about that later. So, Paul Heyman comes out with Ryback, who looks amazing in his pink t-shirt. I understand it's Susan G. Komen and Cancer Awareness Month. I get that. Makes complete sense. I completely respect that. But seeing Ryback in a pink shirt's really funny to me. Anyway, he comes out with Paul Heyman and Curtis Axel. Axel, of course, wearing the Intercontinental Championship. They basically call CM Punk a cheater after last night, where if you didn't watch the pay-per-view, Punk back-kicked Ryback in the nuts, and that's how Ryback lost. So Punk comes out, and he basically says, the only thing I did last night was win. I kicked Ryback in the balls just to see if he had any, and they bleeps out balls. They don't bleep out ass, but they bleep out balls. How appropriate. He says, you know what? I did it before, and I'll do it again. And that means I will beat Ryback. So if you guys want to make a rematch, challenge accepted. So basically they call Punk a bully, and R-Truth comes out of nowhere, and he looks at Punk, and Punk's like, okay, whatever. So we get ourselves an impromptu tag team match with Ryback and Curtis Axel against CM Punk and R-Truth. Alright. Now, before we get started, I called an R-Truth heel turn in this match, before this match started. And Truth has needed to go heel for a while, but got a nice pop tonight, so I think they'll keep him babyface for the foreseeable future. I don't have a problem with that. So, Truth with a chin lock, which is weird because, excuse me. Usually it's the heel that goes for the chin lock, because it's a rest spot, obviously. And it's also a spot where you call your spots. So, Truth with a chin lock on Curtis Axel. And he gets back into the corner, tagging a Ryback, kicks him in the knee, and the big Ultimate Warrior style splash, 2 big gut shots, and locks in a bear hug. And the bear hug gets turned into a spine buster, makes a cover 1-2 and a kick out. So tagging to Curtis Axel, Axel's second turnbuckle on the inside hits the Bret Hart elbow, 1-2 and a kick out. after Ryback does the scoop slam. So Axel with a picture-perfect dropkick, 1-2, and a kick-out, goes for the chin lock. And Truth elbows his way out, high-velocity whip, and makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick-out. So Ryback with the abdominal stretch. And Truth punches his way out. And he picks him up and drops him hard into the turnbuckle. Whip in, he charges, Truth gets the boot up, and he catches him off the ropes into a press slam, turning into an over-the-shoulder power slam. He lands on his feet behind Ryback, pushes him into the turnbuckle shoulder first, and when he turns around, he nails him with the nice leg lariat and pretty much lays him out momentarily. This allows for a tag to CM Punk, tag into Curtis Axel, and Punk comes in, nails a spinning neck breaker on Axel, and the running knee in the corner, and short arm clothesline, goes up top, savage elbow, and he forearms Ryback off the apron for good measure, picks up Axel, go to sleep, and after that he high angle kicks Ryback in the side of the head, tagging to R-Truth. Truth comes in, nails the scissor kick, and 1-2-3 on Curtis Axel. So, this is interesting, because the Intercontinental title has been rather dormant for the longest time. And you had Axel go over at Battleground when the title was on the line. You had Truth go over tonight in a tag team match, but he pinned the champion. So because of that win over the Intercontinental Champion, we're going to have a rematch for the Intercontinental Championship on Friday Night SmackDown, which is taping tomorrow in Columbus. So we'll get to see the rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. And I'll say right now, R-Truth is winning the Intercontinental title on SmackDown this week. I'm pretty positive that's exactly what we're going to do. And if that means that we transition the Intercontinental Championship to Fandango that way, without him going babyface, I don't have a problem with that. I said he's going to be a singles champion before the year's over. So, like I said, though, that's just what I'm thinking. I think that will happen, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So, we introduce the first person after this match. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm actually leaving for Columbus in about 11 hours. So, before I get started about the special guest referee options, I do want to mention that this put a nice little spotlight on the R-Truth Curtis Axel feud. And it throws another wrench into the CM Punk Paul Heyman feud, which I'm pretty sure is going to end at Hell in a Cell. Could have ended at Battleground. No. I don't think it's going to make it to Survivor Series. If it makes it to Survivor Series, I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't think it makes it to the end of the year. We'll go to that. It won't make it to TLC. We'll go with that. If it makes it through Hell in a Cell and goes to Survivor Series, that's fine, because we can do gang warfare mentality and we can do a 4-on-4 traditional Survivor Series match with Punk and whomever against the Paul Heyman guys, which I think would work rather nicely, to be totally honest. But I don't know if it'll go to Survivor Series or not. It might end at Hell in a Cell. I think it very well could. Obviously, the end game in this is CM Punk nailing the go-to-sleep on Paul Heyman and then putting him in the Anaconda device, and we don't see Paul Heyman until the beginning of next year when he comes back with Brock Lesnar. But then again, like I said, I heard Lesnar might be going babyface, which I think is a mistake. So who knows where we're going to go from there. Or maybe when Sheamus comes back, I hear he may end up being a heel, and I think he would be great in the Paul Heyman guy stable, to be totally honest. It'd be interesting to see, because Sheamus could use a mouthpiece. He's not bad on the mic, but he's not great either, so there's always that. So the first person comes out that is asking for your vote, and that first person... Did I miss something here? I think I did. Hold on. Am I missing something? Okay, totally missed that. The first person that came out was Booker T, and I totally didn't write that down. Sorry about that. Booker T came out and he basically says that you pick him because he'll do what's best for business. Mention what's best for business. Totally guarantee Booker's not getting picked. Second man comes out is Mr. Bob Backlund. And Backlund comes out and he basically says he has a heck of a reason to choose him. And he says, heck, because he doesn't like cursing. I've been a good guy in business and a bad guy. I don't care who wins or loses. I'll make the best decision for the match. And if someone gets out of hand, I'll put that person in the crossface chicken wing. That'd be pretty awesome to see. So, we get our... am I missing something? Anyway, we get our next match of the evening. It is Kofi Kingston taking on Randy Orton. And this match was good, too, because I haven't seen these two work in a long time, and they had a tremendous feud a while back, and I really would like to see more matches from the two, because they really have great chemistry in the ring. So, we got midway through the match like we do, is right after the commercial break in this case, and Orton with a Garvin Stomp, and nails the 3.0 backbreaker, makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So, he goes for the chin lock, Kofi punches his way out, and Orton hits a knee, whip in, and he charges in, catches the back elbow, and he nails a middle rope forearm, whip in, reverse, ducks 2 clotheslines, and slides through the legs. Orton with a huge drop kick, hooks both legs of Kofi, makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So, 2 big right hands, like vicious right hands, and then the St. Louis uppercut puts him on the top turnbuckle, preferably going for the superplex, most likely. He climbs up, and Kofi fights his way out, and knocks him down a peg momentarily so he can hit the most awkward tornado DDT in the history of man, which was really, really sloppy. Not a good move at all. So then, of course, Kofi hits his signature spots. He hits the double chop and the double chop. But since Randy Orton has seen these matches as much as I've called his matches, he basically understands right now he's going to stop this. So he goes for a drop kick, and when he goes for the leaping clothesline, Orton ducks out of the way and boots him in the midsection, climbs up top, and Kofi hits the flying body press, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for the SOS on Orton. He gets countered. Turned around, trouble in paradise, Orton ducks out, SOS nails this time, 1-2, and Orton kicks out. So he backdrops Kofi over the top rope, and he lands on the ring apron. So Kofi with a neck snap on Orton. Springboard, and he catches the dive off with a snap power slam, hooks the leg, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for the snake bite DDT, gets countered, backdrop over the top rope to the floor. Kofi goes to the baseball slide drop kick, Orton sidesteps him and nails him with a vicious clothesline on the floor, tosses him hard into the wall, and then he hangs him out to dry, drops him chest first across the barricade. And then he hits the snakebite DDT on the floor, tosses him back in at the 9 count, and picks up the groggy Kofi and nails the RKO, 1-2-3. Daniel Bryan attacks out of nowhere and clotheslines him over the top rope to the floor, nails the tope, and he pounds away. All the referees and the road agents come out to separate Bryan and Orton, and he chases Orton to the back. Okay. So, great match with Kofi and Orton, to be totally honest. Great chemistry between those two. Continue everything with Orton and Bryan. Bryan comes out, gets the upper hand, which pretty much telegraphs the fact that he's going to be left laying at the end of the night. Or is he? I'll get to that in a minute. So, we get our final combatant in the determination of who will be the special guest referee. We hear from Booker T. We hear a very psycho promo from Bob Backlund, very reminiscent of his glory days back in 1994. And the Mr. Bob Backlund glory days in 1994. I'm not talking about Bob Backlund's glory days. They were back in the early 80s when he was WWF champion. He was WWF champion in 1994 too, but that's another story altogether. Great Survivor Series match. I quit match with Bret the Hitman Hart. Check that out if you get a chance to. Owen Hart throws in the towel. Really awesome. So, I'm going to talk about the fact where he lost the WWF Championship to Diesel in like 8 seconds. Yeah, he lost it in 8 seconds with a powerbomb Madison Square Garden, and Diesel won the title that way. But we'll talk about that later. So, the final person is Shawn Michaels, and that's what I predicted was going to happen, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's going to happen, and that's exactly what did happen. So, let's talk about the fact that, now they mentioned, obviously, when he was a Hell in a Cell referee, obviously, with Undertaker Triple H at WrestleMania, but don't forget, there was a time, another SummerSlam in 1997, mind you. It was Bret the Hitman Hart versus The Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels ended up super kicking The Undertaker, and Bret Hart ended up taking the WWF Championship that way. Will lightning strike twice? We'll see. I doubt it, but I mean, it's interesting to bring it up, that factor. So, Triple H and I are personal friends. You know what? This is business. This isn't personal. I don't know if you guys know this, but I helped train Daniel Bryan. He says I trained Daniel Bryan. Technically, him and William Regal trained Daniel Bryan. But I'll let that slide. I'm not going to let that sway me. I don't like Randy Orton, and I'm certain he doesn't like me. That's not going to sway me. I want to be your special guest referee. So why don't you vote for HB Shizzle? So he says HB Shizzle, and he tries to get it trending, and sure enough it does. And I saw some people on the internet tweeting hashtag HB Shizzle, long day. So he says, I will guarantee, regardless what happens, I will do what's not best for business, because I could care less about that. I care about what's best for the WWE Universe. So we get Alberto Del Rio, and he is talking to Vicky Guerrero, who's been apparently invited to Raw to make a special announcement, and actually that is going to be after this match. So, but we don't know this until after the match. Basically, Alberto Del Rio is pretty much schmoozing Vicky and putting her over, calling her sexy, saying she's intelligent, and says, I'd like to have the night off, but I understand, so I'm sure whoever you pick to face me tonight will be worthy, and it'll be a great match. She even is given Del Rio's scarf, put it around her neck. She seems interested, but when Del Rio walks away, she kind of tosses it down with disgust, so I don't know where that comes from. Del Rio does get a match tonight, and he faces off against Ricardo Rodriguez. Obviously, Rob Van Dam even said it on Twitter that he is not there physically and spiritually right now, so he needs to take some time off, given the fact that obviously his contract's kind of like touch and go. So that's the reason why he needs to take some time off. That's fine. So we're not going to see Rob Van Dam for a bit. So to pretty much tie up loose ends with Ricardo Rodriguez, that's pretty much why this match ends up happening. So Ricardo comes to the ring. He gets in the ring, Vicky comes down and makes her announcement. Says that Alberto Del Rio will be defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Hell in a Cell. And his opponent will be John Cena. John Cena wasn't supposed to come back until the Royal Rumble. He's supposed to be out for 4 to 6 months. He's not even going to be out 3 months. And I know a lot of people on the internet are kind of pissed right now, to be totally honest. So we don't want Cena back for a while. We're getting used to this, and let Daniel Bryan run with it and everything. Well, Daniel Bryan's going to run with it. And I know there are a lot of people that mention this tonight, and I think I'm going to jump on this bandwagon. This might be the way to get an undisputed WWE champion at WrestleMania next year. Because you have John Cena win the WWE World Championship. You have Daniel Bryan win the WWE Championship. You have both titles on different competitors, and at WrestleMania, you unify the championships. And there's one unified WWE champion. I think that's the right direction to go. I guess that would be what's best for business. Anyway, I think it would be a good idea, to be totally honest. But if you don't go that direction, John Cena winning the World Heavyweight Championship from Alberto Del Rio, I don't know. I don't know if I really understand why Cena would want to risk another injury getting back into the ring so soon. Unless we're all being swerved, and that's also a possibility. But again, Cena tweets tonight that he is coming back at Hell in a Cell. 2 months earlier than he was supposed to. Actually, 3 months, to be more specific. But, well, yeah, I guess the end of October. So, yeah, about 2 months longer than he's supposed to. Shorter than he's supposed to, sorry. So, there's always that. And who knows what's going to happen with that. Well, that's going to be an interesting situation, and Del Rio is completely shocked long enough for Ricardo to hit Wasn't really caught on camera, but it appeared to me that he hit some sort of an enziguri kick and Ricardo knocks him down, hooks the leg, 1, 2, 3. So he celebrates because he pinned Alberto Del Rio. He gets on top of the announce table. He high-fives JBL. Then he gets clipped in the back of the knee from behind by Del Rio. And he goes back and neck first into the announce table, which looked vicious, by the way. He falls off. Del Rio kicks him in the face, and just like what happened at Battleground with Van Dam, he grabs the steel chair, he puts the arm in it, and he Pillmanizes the arm of Ricardo Rodriguez, locking him in the cross arm breaker. And he's probably going to put Ricardo up for quite a while, so we're not going to see him for a bit. So, you got to wonder, if Cena wins, what's this mean for Damien Sandow and his cash-in? Unless he cashes in before then, and it'll be Sandow and Cena at Hell in a Cell. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. Because Sandow needs the rub. He definitely needs the rub. And facing John Cena and winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship from John Cena would be quite a rub for Damien Sandow. I don't know if they'll go that direction, but it's food for thought. But our next match, which is the Battle of my T-shirt collection, Zack Ryder taking on Fandango with the absolutely gorgeous Summer Rae in his corner. Fandango sporting the, obviously his version, his shirt, the pink version, the Susan G. Komen version of the shirt. It's kind of a belly shirt, kind of like tied off. And this match was actually pretty good for what it was. It was an elongated squash, yeah, but it was pretty good. So, whip in, reverse, and leg lariat, 1-2, and a kick out on Ryder. Snap suplex on Ryder, 1-2, and a kick out. Fandango with the chin lock. Ryder punches his way out, whip in, and face buster on Fandango. And he charges in. Ryder gets the double knees up in the face, and middle rope missile drop kick. Nails him with a diving forearm in the opposite corner and goes for the broski boot. Fandango slides under the bottom rope and stops that. Ryder tosses him back in and he hits a high kick to the side of the head and nails a reverse neck breaker across the top rope. And when Ryder hits the canvas, he is on his chest. Fandango climbs up to the top, nails the perfect 10, and gets the 3 count. So Fandango wins, and that's good, because if he is going to win a singles championship, he has to get victories. It's not like he is Money in the Bank, and if he was Mr. Money in the Bank, I can understand why he'd lose all the time. If they're going to push him in any way or fashion, then it's going to happen here. And there was no Wade Barrett on the show tonight, and a lot of people were saying that the Bad News Barrett character from the JBL and Cole show on YouTube is going to be what Barrett's new gimmick is going to be. I think Barrett returns on SmackDown, if I had to guess. I think that's probably what's going to happen. It's more wishful thinking on my part, but I think Barrett returns on SmackDown. So, the app is unanimous, and Shawn Michaels is made the special guest referee for the Hell in a Cell WWE Championship match between Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton. So, all is right in the world. And we get our, what apparently is now our semi-main event of the evening. It is a rematch from Battleground that, again, only made because we need to see the Giant swing again. The Real Americans taking on Santino Marella and the Great Khali with Hornswoggle in their corner. So go midway through the match like we do. Short arm clothesline on Santino. Swagger bomb, tag Cesaro, leapfrog, and double boot stomp. 1-2 and a kick out. So he locks him the chin lock, the idol vice if you will. Santino punches his way out and tagging to Khali. Big right hand and a clothesline, 6 elbows to the back of the neck in the corner, and the overhand chop. And pretty much staggers Cesaro into the opposite corner and nails the overhand chop again. And Khali knocks Swagger off the ring apron, and that allows for the charge from Cesaro. Khali gets the elbow up. And Cesaro clips the knee, knocks him down, nails the giant swing, and makes the cover. 1, 2, 3. After the match is over, Swagger gets hold of Hornswoggle, and it's awesome. Tosses him into the ring, and Cesaro hits the giant swing on Hornswoggle, which gets stopped in mid-rotation, mind you, by the Cobra, and that pretty much causes the Real Americans to powder. The funny thing about this match, Michael Cole is worried about the safety of Hornswoggle and worried about if he's going to be able to make it out of this. He goes for the giant swing, and it's funny because Cesaro feigns like he is unable to get him up because Hornswoggle's a little chubby now. So he's definitely not in great shape, and he feigns it. He's like, just kidding, and he just swings him around like a rag doll, literally. So it's funny because Michael Cole gets the line tonight and pretty much says, well, I'll paraphrase here. I'm so worried right now. If Cesaro gets Dylan up, Hornswoggle, made me laugh because he called Hornswoggle by his shoot name on live television, which is amazing. And he pretty much, you heard a giggle in the background from JBL and Jerry Lawler to realize what he said. And Twitter caught it too, just like I did. So yeah, for those of you that caught that, it was kind of a little funny moment that happened. So we get our next segment. Before that, I do want to mention that Santino and Great Khali hopefully will not be a full-time tag team. Oh god, no, I hope not. Hopefully Santino will go on to bigger and better things. Khali needs to stay off television. Hornswoggle needs to completely stay off television. And they're going to split the Real Americans sooner rather than later. They will definitely not make it to Survivor Series. I know they're not going to make it to the end of the year. Survivor Series might be pushing it, but there will be a split in the near future with Zeb and Swagger turning on Cesaro. And I think we're doing a Bobby Heenan and Colossal Connection situation, I think is what we're going to end up having. And Cesaro's going to go babyface, and Swagger and Cesaro are going to feud for a bit. Cesaro will get the upper hand, and then Cesaro will be pushed towards a major singles championship. I say Antonio Cesaro is a world champion of some sort within the next 2 years. I think that's pretty much a certainty at this point. Cesaro is over like Rover. He's got a finish that everyone's into, and that's the start right there, folks. That's where great things begin. Sorry, my device is kind of dying here. I apologize. Let me plug it in here. You join me while I plug in my device. There we go. Now it's charging, so it's not going to die in the middle of the camera because I thought it was going to. So we get a Miz TV segment. Or do we? Miz comes out and his special guest is himself. And immediately I think, okay, this is going to be when Mike Mizanin goes heel again. Nope. Right before he's about to talk, the Wyatt family come out. So the lights come back on after the awesome entrance. Rowan and Harper stare Miz down. He ducks out of the ring. He goes right after Bray Wyatt. And Bray ducks his attack. And Miz ends up Yakuza kicking him and running back to the top of the ramp with Bray in the arms of Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. And he does his upside down exorcist and stares back at the Miz. And that's the end of the segment. Have we found the next program for Bray Wyatt in The Miz? That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Could we get a match on SmackDown with Miz and Bray Wyatt? Or we go wait until Hell in a Cell? Could we get The Miz against Luke Harper or The Miz against Eric Rowan on SmackDown? I think we're going to see The Miz against a member of the Wyatt family on SmackDown. I'm not just saying that wishful thinking. I'm saying that because you pretty much set that up with this match. Or this segment, I guess you could say. So maybe the Wyatt family are going to start going through the mid-card talent of the WWE and just eradicating all of them. Pretty much, I thought The Miz might end up being a sacrifice. He wasn't. He actually fought his way out and went right for Bray Wyatt. So, interesting to see where that goes from there. Our main event of the evening, and what a main event it was. The Shield 6-man tag team action. The United States Champion Dean Ambrose and the WWE Tag Team Champions Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins taking on Cody Rhodes, Goldust, and the MVP of the WWE himself, Daniel Bryan. So this match was really good too, and a great television main event. Triple H arrives at the building at the very last second and pretty much says, no more distractions, no more people messing things up. I'm going to sit at ringside and make sure what's best for business goes through. Keep that in mind. So we come back from the final commercial break of the evening, and Rollins has a front chancery on Cody. So Cody punches his way out and rams him with his shoulder into the turnbuckle. Tagging to Dean Ambrose, Ambrose nails the well-placed stomp on Cody and presses his foot into the rib cage of Cody Rhodes. Locks on a modified camel clutch and turns it into a sleeper. Cody elbows his way out, charges in, he gets a knee up, puts him on the top turnbuckle. He climbs up for the belly-to-back superplex, and Cody elbows him off, nails the standing moonsault, and he doesn't go for a cover, which is really strange. Ambrose stops the tag attempt made, and back body drop on Ambrose. Tagging to Daniel Bryan. Bryan with a drop kick sends Roman Reigns off the ring apron. A whip in reverse, backflip, lands on his feet, ducks Rollins' clothesline, and nails him with a vicious release German suplex. Charging drop kick in the corner, puts him on the top turnbuckle, top rope, Hudan Kanrana, 1-2, and Reigns makes the save. So Ambrose tossed over the top rope by Goldust. Beautiful disaster on Roman Reigns, staggers him, and Cody hits the cactus clothesline, sends him over the top rope to the arena floor. So he ducks the clothesline, and Rollins goes for the German. Bryan lands on his feet, nails the buzzsaw kick, locks in the yes lock. Ambrose hits the steel chair into the ribs of Cody Rhodes. Referee calls for the bell. We got a disqualification. So, to appease the crowd last night that were pissed off at the finish, or the lack thereof, of the pay-per-view last night, Triple H is like, no, it's not going to end that way. We're going to restart this match, and we're going to make this no disqualification. I wonder what that means. So, Roman in this case, Reigns and Ambrose get nailed with a tope by Bryan, and Bryan stands up, and out of nowhere, Randy Orton comes from the crowd, RKO's Daniel Bryan. They toss him back in the ring. Rollins makes the cover, 1, 2, 3, and the Shield win again, thanks to Randy Orton. I wonder why it was made no DQ. Makes sense, doesn't it? So the Shield attack, and the Big Show comes out. Don't forget he was fired, but he still comes out through the entranceway and to his music. So Triple H hides behind the Shield in the middle of the ring, and Show gets in the ring, the Shield jump him, and Big Show swats him off like flies. And Rollins clips the knee, and they pretty much have the upper hand, and they look like they're getting ready to go for the triple powerbomb. Triple H says finish him, and Show tosses them off again, and the Shield are down. Triple H comes up to the Big Show, and bam! WMD on Triple H, lays him out. Bryan gets in the ring as the Big Show leaves, and he stands over top of the unconscious Triple H, doing the yes taunt, and that's how we go home, folks. So, Daniel Bryan did not have to do a thing to get over in this, and the Big Show is more relevant now than he has been his entire professional wrestling career. So, ramifications for this are pretty much leading to Triple H and the Big Show. I would say the Royal Rumble, maybe. That might be too long. I think it might be earlier than that. I mean, I think Triple H and Big Show could be as early as Hell in a Cell. I think it actually will happen in Hell in a Cell, now I think about it. So we'll go with that. We'll say Hell in a Cell is when it happens. And, of course, then we transition to a Big Show-Randy Orton feud, which would make sense with Bryan beating Orton at Hell in a Cell decisively with Shawn Michaels as the ref, and when Bryan wins, and Orton transitions to Big Show, and then Bryan ends up transitioning to CM Punk. And, of course, that will lead to Cena and Bryan at Mania for the WWE and World Championship unification. That's a direction you could easily go. So, interesting to see what will happen on the show. So, it was an interesting show for what it was. Be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night on SmackDown, and I will give you guys a full recap Me, Will, Ben, and Steven will be joining you from a diner of some sort, a restaurant of some sort, and actually not in pitch black darkness. We will be shooting videos in pitch black darkness, of course, but obviously we'll be shooting videos as well inside well-lit places. I don't know if we'll get a video from the Cheesecake Factory. I think we might. I think we'll actually get a nice little video from the Cheesecake Factory, so there's always that. So that was Monday Night Raw from last night, and because it's after midnight now, so I can say that. In the meantime, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. If you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, and spread the word about Pop and the Popcaster Revolution. And if you want to send me a message on Facebook, you can friend me on Facebook. It's Owen Disney, very simple to find. It's me drinking a frozen lemonade from Halloween Horror Nights last year. Actually, that is now completely changed, because if you find me on Facebook now, you see an awesome picture of me and my friends Tim and Jen outside of Rip Ride Rockit from Halloween Horror Nights this year, and I'm very happy to say I have that picture. If you want to send me a message on social media via Twitter, you can. It's at SirOwenDisney. Or if you want to send me a good old-fashioned email, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. So, in the meantime, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Join you wrestling fans later in the next couple days for my live event retrospective when Pop goes to SmackDown. And, of course, Impact Wrestling and NXT in the rest of the week. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.